Hello, and welcome to today's Guardian training video. This video will cover in-network and out-of-network connections for fee-paying TrustLine agencies. In other terms, we will cover how to conduct a transfer in Guardian. The following topics will be covered in this training video. In-network connections utilizing the Add New Application and Add Employment feature. In-network connections are applicable to agencies who have multiple agencies under their user account. In other words, in-network connections are a way to associate someone who is already associated to one of your agencies to another one of your agencies. We will also cover out-of-network connections. Out-of-network connections are transfers you can initiate for people who are in the CDSS database, but who are not associated to one of your agencies. This may include individuals who are independently associated to the TrustLine registry or someone who has worked in a licensing child care facility. Each topic discussed in today's video will correlate with a section in the TrustLine for Fee-Paying Agencies user guide with step-by-step instructions to assist with navigation through Guardian. We will first discuss in-network connections. The following in-network connection section will be applicable to individuals who may have two or more agencies assigned to their user account, meaning there are two or more agencies listed here at the bottom of your agency page. If this does not apply to you, you may move forward to the out-of-network connection section of this video. These in-network connections are for TrustLine registrants who are already associated to the TrustLine registry and one of your agencies. Again, this process is to associate someone who is already associated to the registry and associated to one of your agencies, and you are simply associating them to another agency under your user account. There are a few different ways in which you can locate your applicant. You may utilize the search option by conducting a person search or a search via an application number, or you can utilize the rosters option on the navigation bar. When accessing the rosters option, you can select the agency for which your applicant is already associated to. The roster will then provide you with the list of applicants associated to your agency. Locate the applicant and select their last name hyperlinked field. You will then be brought to the person summary page. You may select Add New Application in the top right corner. You will then be brought to the personal and demographic information page where you may make any edits as needed. Select Next to continue to the next page. From the agency dropdown, you will notice there is only one agency option as the applicant is already associated to the other agency under your user account. The request type you will select will be TrustLine Ancillary because, again, this applicant is already associated to the TrustLine registry. Program and position category will auto-populate. Select the Ancillary option from the Position dropdown and select Next to continue. You will then be brought to the Verify Identity page, where you may enter the TrustLine approved identity document. Select Next to continue. You will then be brought to the Research Registries page. Again, the Research Registries page serves the purpose to ensure the correct request type was selected during the pre-association portion of the application. You may select Next to continue to the next page. The payment page will populate indicating a payment is not required for this application, and you may select Next. You will then be brought to the Data Review page where you can review all of the applicant's information and select Submit if no changes are needed. You will then be brought to the Application Submitted Confirmation page, and this applicant will appear on both agency rosters. To confirm this, you can go back to the Rosters page, select the agency for which you associated the applicant to, and select Search. You will now see the applicant is associated to your second agency. Now I will demonstrate associating an applicant to another agency utilizing the Add Employment feature. This process is essentially doing the same thing as just demonstrated, utilizing a different route. The first step is to again locate the applicant for which you would like to associate to another agency under your user account. Select their hyperlinked last name. You will then be brought to the Person Summary page. You may select the Applications tab, if you expand the applications associated with this background check, you will see this applicant is already associated to one of your agencies. Select the Add Employment under the Actions column. The Add Association box will populate. From the Provider dropdown, select the agency for which you are associating this applicant to. The request type should reflect TrustLine Ancillary. The position category and position will auto-populate, and the association date will be the date you are associating this applicant. Select Save once complete, and your applicant has successfully been associated to your other agency. Again, you can confirm this information by expanding the Applications section, and the applications will reflect that the applicant has been associated to the second agency. We will now discuss out-of-network connections. Guardian allows you to search the database for individuals utilizing identifying information to locate an applicant you would like to associate to one of your agencies. There are a few items to keep in mind in order for this to be successful. The background check to be on the TrustLine registry includes a child abuse check, a check through the Department of Justice for California, and an FBI check for out-of-state convictions. Some facilities only require an applicant to obtain the check via the Department of Justice and for the out-of-state via the FBI. If you locate an applicant in this scenario, Guardian will generate a new LifeScan form for the applicant to re-fingerprint and obtain all TrustLine required checks. If you are attempting to associate someone who has obtained all 3 checks to work at a licensing child daycare center, a LifeScan form will not generate. However, keep in mind, those applicants who have worked at a child daycare center will still need to be associated to the TrustLine registry first. Then we will have to associate them to your agency. Similar to the process we did in the agency-initiated applications. This section of the video will cover 3 different scenarios. First, we will cover locating an individual who is already on the TrustLine registry, and I will walk through the steps to associate them to our agency. The first step is to locate the applicant in the Guardian database. Select Search, then Person Search. Utilize the applicant's identifying information and select Search when complete. You must enter at least one item from each row. Guardian will then route you to the person summary page. Again, this process is demonstrating someone who is already on the TrustLine registry, and we are simply associating them to one of our agencies. To confirm an applicant is on the registry, you may contact the Resource and Referral Network. Select Add New Application in the top right corner. You will then be brought to the Personal Demographic Information page, which you can make any edits as needed or select Next to continue. You must then enter the pre-association information. Select the agency for which you're associating the applicant to. And again, because this applicant is already on the TrustLine registry, we will select TrustLine Ancillary. Program and position category will auto-populate, and you will select Ancillary for the position dropdown. Select Next to continue. Enter the TrustLine approved identity document information, and select Next to continue. The payment page will indicate a payment is not required, and you may select Next. You will then be brought to the Data Review page where you can review all information, make edits as needed, and select Submit once complete. You will finally be brought to the Application Submitted confirmation page. Again, a LifeScan form will not generate as this applicant has already obtained all TrustLine approved background checks. A new LifeScan submission is not needed. The next scenario will be locating an applicant in the database who does not obtain the appropriate background checks. Again, this can include somebody who works at an adult daycare or a residential care facility for the elderly. Applicants who fingerprint for these facilities only need the California Department of Justice and FBI out-of-state checks. These applicants do not obtain the child abuse check and therefore will need to be re-fingerprinted. The first step is to locate the applicant in the database. You will then be brought to this person's summary page. Select Add New Application in the top right corner. Review the Personal and Demographic Information page and make any edits as needed. Select Next to continue. You will then be brought to the Pre-Association Information page. Keep in mind, in this scenario, this applicant has never worked on the TrustLine registry. We must first associate them to the TrustLine registry, and then we can associate them to one of our agencies. The request type you will select is TrustLine Initial Registry. Program and position category will auto-populate. Select TrustLine Registry from the position dropdown. Select Next once complete. Enter the TrustLine approved identity document information. Select Next to continue. You will be brought to the payment page where the TrustLine registry fee will be required. You may pay the fee by selecting credit or select batch payment to make the payment at a later time. Again, you may access pending payments by selecting Applications, then Pending Payments from the navigation bar. Keep in mind, if you do not want to pay the applicant's registry fee, you can provide the applicant with the applicant instruction form to submit an application for your agency and pay the associated fee. Select Next to continue. You will again be brought to the Data Review page where you can review all applicant information, edit information as needed, and select Submit once complete. You will then be brought to the application submitted confirmation page. Keep in mind, LiveScan forms will not generate on the application submitted confirmation page unless the TrustLine registry fee was paid. However, the applicant will also receive an email from Guardian with a link to access their LiveScan form once available. The next step of this process is to go back and add an application to associate this applicant to your agency. You may locate the applicant, select Add New Application, on the pre-association information page, you will select the agency for which you are associating this applicant to. And again, the big difference here is the request type you will select is TrustLine Ancillary. If you were to select TrustLine Initial Registry again, the Research Registries page would prompt you that an error was made. You will then have to come back to this pre-association page and make the correction. You will continue in the following screens as you have done the previous times. And you have successfully added this applicant to the TrustLine registry and associated them to your agency. The final scenario we will cover is very similar to the last. I will demonstrate locating an applicant in the database who has previously received all required background checks needed to be on the TrustLine registry. The first step is to locate the individual in the database. You will then be brought to the Person Summary page. You can select Add New Application and continue through the screens as previously demonstrated. Now, although this person is in the database with the correct background checks, we must again first associate this applicant to the TrustLine registry. Enter the TrustLine approved identity document information, you will notice the difference when submitting the application is Guardian is not requiring a new set of fingerprints. However, keep in mind, we must still go back and associate this applicant to one of our agencies. And the applicant has successfully been associated to your agency and to the TrustLine registry. This concludes the in-network and out-of-network connections video for fee-paying TrustLine agencies. Additional training videos may be located at guardian.dss.ca.gov. Thank you for watching.